All right, so here's a story you may have not heard about. The media is not really talking about this, but this is why I love Rob Schmidt from Newsmax. He is my favorite conservative TV host. Let's jump into this.
All right, to many on the left, equity sounds great until your plane collides with another on the approach to LAX. The New York Times reporting that back in July last month, an American Airlines jet was accelerating down the runway at more than 160 miles an hour when it narrowly missed a Frontier jet whose nose had jutted into its path. 2.5 weeks later, an American flight to Dallas was traveling more than 500 miles per hour when a collision warning blared in the cockpit. An air traffic controller had mistakenly directed a United flight very close to that plane. Imagine that collision in midair. Those are just two of the 46 different close calls involving airlines in the month of July.
46 different near collisions in the month of July in the United States. That is crazy. I didn't know about this just until that this stuff was going on until I watched this episode of Rob Schmidt.
Alone, 46 in 1 month. The reason? A woke political agenda being injected into our air traffic control towers. Tom Oltorek was a pilot for 26 years before he retired, and he joins us now. Sir, good to have you on. Tom, you go to the FAA's website. They have a entire diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility page right at the very top. They are not messing around. It appears there's a staffing issue, from what we can tell, is part of this problem, and they're making it worse. They only want young applicants, we understand, and I'm wondering, are they boxing out very, very credible people, very competent people, because they might not look the right way?
Hey, Rob. Yes, thanks. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Sure.
I think more than just one thing is in play here. Certainly, DEI ends up being just another mandate. And as your previous guest mentioned, there is a bit of a COVID hangover effect here.
Yeah.
My research shows 2,000 employees short at the FAA, so they're overworked. The system is maxed out it's stressed out to the max.
That COVID stuff had a huge impact on a lot of industries, and sadly, the airline industry was a victim of that big time. And we don't need trouble in the airs. We do not need that.
You need your best and brightest in these positions, and you need to attract them. But something is holding up that attraction. Again, we've been doing quota hiring in the government and major corporations for a long time. So it's not that on its own.
It's not that on its own. But I know we have a labor shortage in this country because we gave away a lot of money for the last couple of years. A lot of people are off the workforce. There's millions of people, fewer working than there were, even in 2019. But when you take them out and you're not allowed to replace them, I read something that said they won't take applicants that are over the age of 31 years old. Is that right? Have you heard that?
I have not heard that, but it wouldn't surprise me that they're tying their hands this way. That's typical government work.
Yeah.
My hypothesis is the COVID hangover effect. Who wants to get 10 or 15 years into their career only to wake up one morning and have a vaccine mandate or some other unconstitutional thing forced down their throat, or a DEI mandate? Who wants that? Even the folks that would benefit from DEI really don't want that for the most part.
He's absolutely right. People don't want to be in a career they love, and all of a sudden you have these mandates coming down your throat. You should not be forced to do anything medically. You should not be forced to do that. Then you combine it with this DEI nonsense. It's just a recipe for disaster.
So it's terribly unproductive. We are short in the workforce. VAERS is reporting 6,000 vaccine confirmed deaths. The WHO VIGI Access database shows 2 million COVID vaccine injuries. And Edward Dowd, the analyst and author from BlackRock formerly, he's showing a 100% increase in disability since 2021. So these mandates are very counterproductive.
So you have VAERS reporting 6,000 COVID deaths, vaccine-related deaths. You have 2 million related injuries reported by WHO. And then you have this other stat he just gave out.
Especially the vaccine.
100% increase in disability. So it's having an effect on people's lives and ability to work, obviously. Not everybody who gets the shot. I never got the shot, thankfully, never will. So I'm one of the pure bloods. But the people who did get the shot, I mean, it's not 100% of the time you're going to have be hurt by this, or it may not impact your life at all. You may be just fine. But then there are a lot of cases where people are getting injured with this vaccine. A lot of things are happening based on these reports and from what I've seen.
Mandates. People don't want to walk into that sort of thing.
Nobody
it's
should be
unconstitutional.
mandated. Nobody should be mandated to anything. Well said.
Absolutely not.
Tom Otorek laying out the facts for us, what's happening with travel in this country. I know a lot of people are nervous right now because they don't think that whatever's happening, they don't feel safe. And when you have 46 close calls in a month, that's a bad sign. Tom, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Good.
We're going to get into some stats here, some good news on the other side of this. But no. See, the thing, it's a combination of things. You have this woke nonsense just adding on to problems. Like he said it's not just the DEI stuff. That's just one component. And he said they've been doing quota hiring, for years, like he said. So it's not anything new, but if you add more, if you put a bigger emphasis on that, obviously it will have an impact because you're not getting the most qualified people. You might have, I don't care what color you are when you fly a plane. I don't care if you're purple. I don't care if you're an alien. I don't care if you're black, white. Just as long as you can fly the plane, that's all I care about, getting to my destination safely. That is all I care about. But when you put a bigger emphasis on woke hiring, you may not get the most qualified people because you may pass up a guy who has better qualifications, who has 20 years of experience, than you may pick a guy who has 2 years experience, just because he's black. I'm not saying you have to be a specific color to know how to fly a plane. Obviously not. Like I said, I don't care. But when you pick somebody who's underqualified or who doesn't have as much qualifications as the next guy, just because of his race, that could be a big problem. So, but the vaccines, I think, look, when you had Joe Biden come out with this mandate, this vaccine mandate, a lot of these airlines just jumped on it without even, all Joe Biden did was make a press conference. He had a press conference and said now there's a vaccine mandate. With nothing went through Congress, nothing at all. The companies they jumped. Joe Biden said jump and they all jumped. And this impacted the airline industry. A lot of people quit. There have been a lot of issues with this mandate. And a lot of people will feel like they were forced to do it. They had no other option. So they didn't. And then you had a lot that didn't do it. And they left. And they protested. So like this story from Newsmax, 46 close calls in July and almost 300 near miss or near collisions this year. That is a lot. One is too many. It says this article says the aviation system in the United States is globally recognized as the safest, yet even a single near miss incident is unacceptable. And that's absolutely right. The United States domestic travel here in the U.S. is safe. It is unbelievable how safe it is. And then I'm flying a plane. My biggest fear is to go down and plane crash, but I know, based on the facts, that I'm more than okay. And the chances of something happening is very unlikely. There's been a lot of there's been a huge effort in the United States to make air travel really safe over the last 50 years. Especially the last 20 or 30 years, it's got even more safe. It says both the FAA and aviation industry are actively striving for a target of zero significant close calls, echoing the commitment made during the safety summit held in March. So it's good they're taking action. This strategy, similar to the one that nearly eradicated fatalities on U.S. commercial airlines, has been instrumental in reducing the risk of accidents. Notably, the U.S. carriers have achieved a remarkable safety record since 2009, transporting more passengers than the global population without fatal crashes. Unbelievable. That is just remarkable. A multitude of safety measures safeguard the well being of travelers, encompassing various aspects. Commercial aircraft are equipped with traffic collision avoidance systems. Prominent airports deploy surface safety technology, and a robust set of protocols are in place. Both air traffic controllers and pilots assume pivotal roles in this safety network. So, uh, some things that have been done. Furthermore, the FAA has undertaken the hiring of 15 controllers for the fiscal year in 2023. This addition is supplementary to the ongoing training of over 2,600 controllers at various stages in the air traffic facilities across the nation. And here goes some more data. So here, the root cause of runway incursions in 2023, 60% attributed to pilot deviations, 20% attributed to operational incidents, 20% to vehicle pedestrian deviations. Further, the FAA has implemented a series of actions since March, released a safety alert that mandates operations to adhere to the highest safety standards, incorporating modifications to procedures or training as needed, unveiled measures within the agency's air traffic organization to ensure that supervisors are fully engaged with operations and airfield activities during periods of high traffic, established an independent aviation safety review team, allocated more than $100 million towards reducing runway incursions at 12 airports, initiated the Stand Up for Safety campaign for controllers, commenced the quest for a new service situational awareness tool. So these are good things that they've done to make sure these don't happen. Like I said, there was a huge push by the airline industry, and actually it's ongoing, but to make air travel more safe. It's gone from like a 1 in 300,000 chance, or something like that, of dying in a plane crash, basically like 1 in 8 million. So the chance of dying in a plane crash is extremely, extremely low, and that's because of a lot of the things that they've put in place, the efforts that the airline industry has put in place to make air travel in the United States the safest in the entire world. And I'm proud. I'm proud of them for doing that, because when you get in a car, your chances of getting a crash is much higher. But the thing is, you feel like you're in control. So I think it's the lack of control that you have when you're 35,000 feet in the air, and somebody else is at the front of that, dictating what's going on. But it is very safe. I have never had knock on wood, to this point, a scary incident on an airplane. It's very safe in the United States. You rarely hear about anything going on. You may hear about a lot of small planes, small planes here and there crashing, which is very sad, but commercial aircraft in the United States is very safe. And it's good to see that they're taking action on this, but the downside is that these things are happening. And they've been happening a lot since Biden. It's a lot of chaos with a lot of industries, it feels like, under Joe Biden. This mandate for the vaccines was terrible. Absolutely terrible. And that's the impact that this dumb president has. President has a dictator. A dictator. I think in my mind, he's acting like a dictator by mandating people to get a vaccine, and these companies jumping. But as soon as he says jump, they jump, and they do it. And it's impacted a lot of the, there's a lot of their employees were either sick from the vaccine, have some kind of vaccine injury or something like that, And a lot of people, there may have been a lot of potential applicants that said, screw it, I'm not going to do this because of this vaccine mandate. They may have switched careers, you never know. But yeah, that's the impact these types of things have. Instead of letting the companies do what they need to do and stepping out of the way, the federal government stepping out of the way, of course you need some kind of regulation for an airline industry like airlines, just because it is such a huge, there's a risk being up there that high in the air. So you need to have some kind of government intervention on that with the FAA, and you combine with the private sector. So that is good. But you need to have competent, smart people in these positions, all the way from the pilot down to the air traffic controller and everything in between. But all right, guys, thanks for listening. Like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Take care.